Welcome students, hope you are all well and studying hard. Today we are going to discuss a very beautiful poem by Edward Lear. The name of the poem is The Duck and the Kangaroo. In this video we are going to analyze the poem word by word, the stanza wise summary and the central idea or the message of this poem. We are also going to read the poetic devices and the rhyme scheme employed by the poet in this poem. So be patient and watch the video till the end and enjoy the poem. At first look at the title of this poem. You see this is a very simple title, but it has two layers of meaning. One is the surface level meaning, that means the literal meaning, and another one is the deeper level meaning, that means the metaphorical or the figurative meaning. This is a humorous tale which arouses our laughter because it is a conversation, a dialogue between the duck and the kangaroo. This poem is also a fine example of fable. What is a fable? A fable is generally a short story or poem with inhuman or inanimate characters who speak and behave like human beings, but it contains a moral. A famous example of this kind of poems is Fable, the poem Fable written by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and in that poem there was a conversation between the mountain and a squirrel, and the poem ended with a moral. You also see the examples of fable in your childhood stories, like the famous story The Hare and the Tortoise. A long conversation went on between those characters, and at the end we concluded that the moral of the story is slow but steady wins the race. So in this sense the poem is also giving a message. This is the metaphorical or the figurative meaning of this title. It contains some symbols and gives some messages. The message of friendship, the mutual respect and compromise, the wanderlust and freedom are all given by this poem. We will look into these messages at the end of the poem while discussing the central idea or the message section of this poem. Before coming to the text directly, let us know something about your poet Edward Lear. Edward Lear was an English poet and musician, mostly famous for his nonsense collections of poems, songs, short stories, some botanical drawings and recipes. He also composed and published 12 musical settings of Tennyson's poetry. And Tennyson was a famous poet of Victorian age. His full name was Alfred Lord Tennyson. Now come to the text and the literary context of this poem. This poem, The Duck and the Kangaroo, appeared originally in Edward Lear's anthology called Nonsense Songs in 1870. This poem has 5 stanzas, each carrying 8 lines. So the entire poem has 40 lines. Now look at the first stanza. Said the duck to the kangaroo, "Good gracious, how you hop over the fields and the water too, as if you never would stop. My life is a bore in this nasty pond, and I long to go out in the world beyond. I wish I could hop like you," said the duck to the kangaroo. At first, let us know some word meanings. Good gracious means, "Oh kind God." Hop means jump. A bore refers to here boring or monotonous dull life. Nasty means filthy or dirty, ganda. Long means desire or want. Beyond means far off, dur. A duck and a kangaroo were friends, and the duck begins the dialogue and the kangaroo listens him patiently. Good gracious, how you hop. So at first the duck is simply surprised and awestruck to see the jumping skill of the kangaroo. He praises the kangaroo for the skill of jumping. Where does the kangaroo jump? Over the fields and the water too, as if he would never would stop. So the kangaroo can jump on both the land and on water. So like an amphibian, he can go to both fields and on water continuously, as if you would never stop. That means one feels after seeing the kangaroo that he would never stop his skill of jumping. So the duck said to the kangaroo that he was very much surprised at the capacity to hop and jump continuously and easily over the water and also over the fields. And if one sees kangaroo hop, one feels that he would never stop. Next lines. My life is a bore in this nasty pond, and I long to go out in the world beyond. My life here means the life of the duck. Now the duck compares his own life to that of the kangaroo. So unlike the life of the kangaroo, the duck is stuck in a nasty or dirty pond. But he is very much dissatisfied with this life. His life is a bore. Bore means monotonous, dull life. And I long to go out in the world beyond. I means obviously the duck. So he wants to travel beyond this nasty pond around the world. So he is very much dissatisfied with this world confined within this dirty pond. Here we can say that the Lear's personal longing, our poet, for traveling is also evident here. Lear was not satisfied, confined within the four walls of his home, and he also traveled the world, spending time in Paris, Jerusalem, and many other places. I wish I could hop like you, said the duck to the kangaroo. So the duck said to the kangaroo that the kangaroo had led a very splendid life, but his own life is a very dull one. He lived all the time in the dirty water of the pond, and he very much desired to travel to the world beyond that silly pond, and he very much wished to hop like the kangaroo. So this is your first stanza. Now come to the second stanza. Please give me a ride on your back, said the duck to the kangaroo. I would sit quite still and say nothing but quack the whole of the long day through, and we would go to the Dee and the Jelly Bow Lee, over the land and over the sea. Please take me on a ride, oh do, said the duck to the kangaroo. So here duck now appealed and requested the kangaroo fervently to give him a break, a chance to ride joyfully. So at first look at the different meanings. Quiet means completely, still means motionless or calm, quack means sound made by the ducks. Dee or Jolly Bolly here are two imaginary or fictitious places. There are no such places in reality. Oh do, this exclamation refers to please do so, an appeal. Look at the first two lines. Please give me a ride on your back, said the duck to the kangaroo. Now after describing his pathetic life confined in the nasty pond, here the duck candidly, he frankly requests the kangaroo to give him a ride on his back. I would sit quite still, and he promised that he would sit very quietly and calmly and say nothing but quack. And he also promised that he would not disturb the kangaroo while traveling around the world. He will just make a quacking sound, but that is very much peculiar of the ducks the whole of the long day through. So he wished that they will just travel throughout the day and they will enjoy the day. So here the duck requested the kangaroo to give him a ride on his back, and he promised to sit very quiet. He would say nothing but only quack, and this by these activities the whole day and day will pass like very joyful way. The next lines, and we would go to the Dee and the Jelly-Bo-Lee over the land and over the sea. Look at the we here means they together, means both the duck and the kangaroo. So he is very much certain that the kangaroo will accept his proposal for a joyful ride and travel. So where will they go? They will go to the Dee and the Jelly-Bo-Lee. Dee and Jelly-Bo-Lee are not real places. I told you earlier that they are some imaginary or fictitious places. They have no place in reality. Lee means the side of a hill. So he intends to visit there together. Over the land and over the sea means like the kangaroo now riding on the back of the kangaroo, the duck will also be able to travel both on the land and on the water. Please take me a ride. Oh, do, said the duck to the kangaroo. So his intensity of the appeal is very much strong. His strong desire to travel, not to be confined and lead a static life in the pond is very much evident in these lines. Please take me a ride. A fervent request, a fervent appeal to his dear friend for a joyful ride and travel around the world. Oh do means please do so. Please listen to my appeal. So here the duck proposed to go to the Dee and the mountainside. He wanted to travel over the land and on the sea, just like the kangaroo. He makes a very strong appeal to the kangaroo to accept his request and take him on a ride. So this is your second stanza. Now come to the third stanza. Said the kangaroo to the duck, this requires a little reflection. Perhaps on the whole it might bring me luck, and there seems but one objection, which is, if you will let me speak so bold, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold, and would probably give me the rheumatism, said the kangaroo. At first look at some difficult word meanings. Requires means needs. Reflection here means thought or consideration. On the whole means considering the whole aspect. Luck means fortune, but here refers to only. Objection means difficulty or doubt. Bold means frank. Unpleasantly means causing discomfort. Rheumatism here refers to rheumatism, the pain of the bone joints or joint inflammation. Here in this section, in this stanza, now the kangaroo replies, but his reply is so gentle. He said the kangaroo to the duck, this requires a little reflection. This means the duck's proposal, that the duck proposed to the kangaroo for a ride. The kangaroo now answers to that proposal. A little reflection. Reflection here means, I told you, that thought or consideration. So the kangaroo says that I should think and consider before accepting your proposal. Perhaps on the whole it might bring me luck. So this ride or traveling will not only give happiness or relief to the duck only, but also probably bring the kangaroo also some bit of luck. And there seems but one objection. And means here but he thinks that there is one little objection or doubt difficulty in the mind of the kangaroo before accepting his proposal of traveling. Which is, if you will let me speak so bold. Now the kangaroo clarifies his objection. He says that if he speaks candidly or frankly, your feet are unpleasantly wet and cold. The duck always stays and floats on water, so naturally his feet are very wet and cold, and the kangaroo is giving objection to that possibility, that and would probably give me the rheumatism. The kangaroo thinks that the wet feet or the cold feet of the kangaroo would cause him some pain of the bone joints. Here rheumatism is intentionally written mistakenly. The actual spelling is rheumatism. Here this is poetic license. The poet can write lines whichever way they like for the sake of rhyme or for the sake of other emphasis or stress to the idea. So here the kangaroo said that if the duck allowed him to speak frankly, there was just one objection, and that is the duck's feet are so wet and so cold that it would cause kangaroo some discomfort, because they are so wet and cold. Their touch on the kangaroo's body would certainly cause him the rheumatism. So this is your third stanza. Now come to the stanza 4. Said the duck, as I sat on the rocks, I have thought over that completely, and I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks, which fit my wet feet neatly. And to keep out of the cold, I have bought a cloak, and every day a cigar I will smoke, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. Worsted means woolen, socks means stockings. Wave feet here refers to the wave-like feet of duck. Neatly means completely or trimly. Cloak here means robe or dress. Cigar refers to this cigarette. Now it's duck's turn again. He also humbly answers the objection raised by his friend kangaroo. He says that he even thought of this objection beforehand and already found a solution when he sat on the rocks. I have thought over that completely. So he thinks that he was already aware of the problem, and sitting on the rock he had pondered over it. And I bought 4 pairs of worsted socks which fit my web feet neatly. To overcome this problem, he had already bought 4 pair of woolen socks, and these socks fitted him very well. And to keep out the cold, I have bought a cloak. So not only so, in addition he also buys a dress to overcome the coldness. And every day a cigar I will smoke. This is a humorous line. The duck cannot smoke, but here the duck says that to overcome the coldness he also smoke a cigar in a day, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. Look at the adjectives: own dear true love. So his love for the friend kangaroo is very much dear love, own love, and my love. So look at the bond, strong bond and very strong affinity of friendship between the duck and the kangaroo. So to keep out the coldness, here the duck had 3 plans. One is socks, second one is cloak, and third one is smoking. Now come to the concluding stanza, the 5th one. Said the kangaroo, I am ready, all in the moonlight pale, but to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady and quiet at the end of my tail. So away they went to the hop and they bound, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. And who so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo? Look at some word meanings. Pale means defade or dim. Steady means still or motionless. Hop and bound means jumping and leaping. Now the kangaroo is satisfied after hearing his dear friend the duck. As the duck had already bought the socks, the cloak, and he promised some smoking, the kangaroo is fully satisfied. His objections are now vanished and he says that I am ready. Now the kangaroo is satisfied fully and is ready to go now. All in the moonlight pale. So they plan to travel in the pale moonlight when the light of the moon will fade and the light is dim. But to balance me well, dear duck, sit steady. He again gives some advices before traveling. He says that to give him the correct balance, the dear duck should sit steady and motionless, where at the end of my tail. He asked him to sit at the very end of his tail so that he can maintain the balance of his body. Now the dialogue ends and it ends very happily. This is a very happy ending, and both the duck and the kangaroo are symbol of true friendship. Now the dialogue ends and the poet now speaks in the last 4 lines. So away they went with a hop and bound, and in this way, after the objections and the confusions are vanished, now they start their traveling. With a hop and a bound means they jump and leap and go on, and they hopped the whole world 3 times round. So they traveled round the world thrice. This is obviously exaggeration or hyperbole. They cannot cover the whole world 3 times. This is hyperbole. And who so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo? This is rhetorical question. That means the answer is hidden in the question. Now the duck and the kangaroo both are so happy as they travel together as a sign of true friendship, and they are both happy. Also, we the readers are also happy after seeing this kind of happy ending of their friendship and mutual understanding. So this is your point, that this wanderlust of the duck is also symbolic and have a reference to the wanderlust and the wanderthirst of the poet also. The poet, our Edward Lear, also speaks his personal yearning for traveling. He did not find himself very happy being confined within the 4 walls of his house. He also yearned to travel around this world. Now come to the central idea or the message of this poem. This apparently simple poem is a tale about true friendship and mutual understanding and compromise. We should help people whenever they are in needs. We should give our best and it will also come in return in future. We should also express candidly and clarify every doubts, objections in our minds by healthy dialogue and polite arguments. We must take care and pay attention towards the feelings of others. Another important theme of the poem is wanderlust and freedom. Curiosity and desire to explore the unknown with good friends and companions are eternal of the human beings who are never satisfied within the monotony of 4 walls, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. These lines occurred in one of the famous poems of Alfred Lord Tennyson, Ulysses. Now look at the rhyme scheme of this poem stanza wise. The rhyme scheme of the first stanza is A B A B C C A A. The first line kangaroo, it rhymes with the third line 2, and the 7th and 8th lines you and kangaroo, so we can write A. Line number 2 hop, it rhymes with stop, so B. Again, pond and beyond, new sounds and same sounds, so C. Stanza number 2, the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, C, B, B. The first line, back, it rhymes with quack, so we can write A. The second line, kangaroo, it rhymes with through. Again, the last two lines, oh do, kangaroo, these are also same sounds, so we can write B. Now the fifth and sixth lines, Lee, C, same sounds but different sounds, so we can write C. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is A, B, C, C, B, B. Stanza number 3, 4 and 5 have same rhyme scheme. This is A, B, C, C, D, D. Let us take one example, stanza number 3. Look at the line number 1, duck. We can write A, it rhymes with luck, the third line, so we can write A also. Reflection, it rhymes with objection, so same sound, B. Again, bold rhymes with cold, C. Roo, kangaroo, D. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, C, D, D. Now look at the poetic devices or the literary devices of this poem. The first one is symbol. What is a symbol? A mark or sign or word that represents or stands for something else. For example, red rose is a symbol of love. Here also in this poem, pond is symbol and it is symbol of boundaries that the duck here experiences and he wants to go beyond that, and that's why he asks for help to the kangaroo. So the symbol here is pond. The second one is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sound of closely connected words. Look at stanza number 1, good gracious, G sound is repeated. How, hop, H sound is repeated. Again in stanza 2, sit, quiet, still and say, S sound is repeated here. Stanza number 5, but to balance, B, bo sound is repeated. Dear duck, D sound is repeated. Whole world, W sound is repeated. So these are all instances of alliteration. The third one is anaphora. When the same word is used at the start of 2 or more consecutive lines. Look at stanza number 4. Here and words are repeated in these 2 consecutive lines. Again in stanza number 5, the last 2 lines, and is repeated here also. So both the pair of sentences begin with and this is an example of anaphora. The fourth one is hyperbole. What is hyperbole? When it is the use of exaggeration, that means a way of speaking or writing something bigger or better or more than they really are. They are not to be taken literally here. So in the last stanza, the line they hopped the whole world 3 times round is a clear example of hyperbole, because it is not possible in reality to cover the whole world for the duck and the kangaroo 3 times. So it is an example of exaggeration or hyperbole. The fifth figure of speech is pun. Pun means double meaning words. That means the words sound alike but have possibly different meanings. Stanza number 2, line number 3 and stanza number 5, line number 4. There is a word quiet. This word quiet also means quiet. That means still or calm or motionless. So it is also an example of pun here. The next figure of speech is refrain. Refrain means the use of musical rhyming sentences throughout the poem here. Here, said the duck to the kangaroo. This line has been repeated to give emphasis on the duck's request to the kangaroo. Seventh one is enjambment. When the same sentence continues in 2 or more lines, this is enjambment. Look at stanza number 4. And I have bought 4 pairs of posted socks which fit my web feet neatly. So this is enchantment. The last line of this same stanza, all to follow my own dear true love of a kangaroo. So here the same sentence continues in 2 lines. So this is enchantment. The last figure of speech is rhetorical question. A rhetorical question is one figure of speech for which the questionnaire doesn't expect a direct answer. It is just asked for the effect to lay emphasis on some point already discussed. No real answer is expected, and the answer is also hidden in the question itself. Now look at the last 2 lines of the poem. The answer is given in the question itself. What does the line say? And who so happy, oh who, as the duck and the kangaroo. So the answer is given here. The readers are happy, and both the kangaroo and the duck are happy. So this is an instance of rhetorical question because the answer is hidden in this line. Nobody is happier than those 2 creatures. So this is your poem. Hope you understand and enjoy it fully. So study hard, and thank you.